Welcome back, Hodlers. Today we're going to be talking about a bullish indicator that could be showing that Bitcoin is about to go on an absolute tear, or at least continue on its bull market. Of course, if you do like this content, go ahead and give me a like, subscribe to the channel for more crypto news and content. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we do see Bitcoin currently sitting at 44,800. So we are on a bit of a dip from the past couple of days. We'll take a quick look at the daily chart. Take a look at that, where we are sitting right now. We're going to take a look at the more macro economics of Bitcoin, where the market cycle is going to go, where I predict it will end, and then most likely what other theories could be. So again, we do see a bit of a lull period here, a bit of a dip on Bitcoin getting rejected up at that 47,000 mark. So I do think that we have a decision to make here. So we have a couple of things to be aware of. Now, we do have a line of support sitting at around 42,000, 42,300. The reason why I'm saying that is because we're measuring it by the wick, and then up here where we got that. Now that we're over that, that's our line of support. So that is our line of support. Our line of resistance is probably decisively this 47,000 mark. So right around where we got rejected, which makes sense because we're kind of riding on this wick here down there. So we now have this little channel isolated where we're trading within. So could we break out or break up? Now, I mean, like anything is possible at this point. We could either break up or down. But I think the momentum here is that we're going to go to the upside. The reason for that is a bullish indicator showing that we are getting more bullish for Bitcoin. So in my opinion, I think we have two options. Option one, we either move right up above this mark here, or option two, we move down, bounce off of this level of support, and then move up, and then are able to shoot up above this line at a later time. Now, the reason I say that is because of something called the hash ribbon. Now, the hash ribbon is a buy and sell indicator for Bitcoin. You can even see here exactly where I actually said to buy. Started on June when everything started to dip, started to go down. This was clear buying territory all through here. And now we've come to a divergence and now changing in trend. Now we do see this every single time that the trend changes. Obviously we go on an uptrend and a continuous runoff. So we did see this here where we kind of saw that in a little bit of a buying area here. And then we saw the run up that led all the way up here to our top. And then now we're dealing with the exact same thing, but just starting at the beginning. The only difference is this is a much more dramatic buying period than what we had before. But I do think at this point, we're most likely going to shoot up and continue up into our bull market. Maybe not super immediately, but we are going to go on an uptrend. So I do think at least at this level, we will see 47,000 at least broken. Now, I've also said that we have to beat our 52,000 mark as well to get into a more bullish standpoint. So obviously we will have that one more line to move past. But there are a couple of things that are looking pretty bullish for Bitcoin to think that we're going to hit that 52,000 mark fairly soon. One big indicator of this is that we closed above and now we're still floating above our bull market support band, so above our 20-week SMA. So we are looking pretty bullish right now. Does that mean that we are not going to go lower? I mean, at this point, we could go lower, but I don't think we're going to go any much lower than our bull market support band. Because again, once we're over some sort of indicator like the bull market support band, like a smooth moving average or anything else like that, we have some sort of line of support at that indicator. And the exact same thing happens in the opposite direction. So if we're under an indicator like under the bull market support band, that's a line of resistance. Now, obviously, we blew past this bull market support band, and now we're holding up above it in our weekly at this point. But we could test again. We could come down a little bit lower to meet that 20-week SMA, but most likely we'll rebound off of it and regain some control. It does seem like now we're getting more bulls in control of the market. So I do see at this point we're probably going to go on an uptrend. I do think that tentatively, I don't think that this is going to be a huge uptrend, and I don't think it's going to be massively fast, but I do think all the signs are there. We're going to go to the upside. Now, something that you may ask is, okay, so we get it. We're probably going to go up very soon, but how long will this market go? How much longer do we actually have of this market cycle before the inevitable end. And of course, everything has to come to an end. So if we take a look at our measurements between bull markets, or market cycles, I should say, here from the bottom of each cycle. So we'll take a look at that one. We'll take a look at 2017 here. Okay, so looking at all of our market peaks from the bottom of Bitcoin. So obviously Bitcoin started out just down here, little baby Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin went up around 73,000%. Up to a whopping $26 Bitcoin. And remember, people said, it sucks that I sold Bitcoin at $8. I should have held for that $26 Bitcoin. How stupid was I? Well, holding always proved to be correct, right? Holding always proved to be correct. Even if you bought the top at, say, a $26 Bitcoin, you were objectively in the red for a long time after that crash. Objectively in the red for a very, very long time, all the way to our bottom of around $1.85, around $2, somewhere, give or take that range, jumping back up to around $1,100, which is a 60,000% increase. Now, our first cycle ended in 47 bars or 47 weeks. Our next one was 170 bars, so 170 weeks, because again, we are on the weekly chart. And then this one, from bottom to peak, was 153 bars, and this was at 11,310% of a gain. And that is from the bottom. So you should notice some sort of trend here. You should notice, one, we're getting less returns over time, and two, the market cycles are becoming longer. So with that in mind, how much longer could we potentially go? So if we look at 153 bars, which is 153 weeks, we could likely guess a maybe 50, 60 bar increase, potentially 70 bar increase. So let's say, for the sake of being conservative, 210 bars. So we'll get to 210 bars. Now, let's say we're not going to see as big of a gain. So we're going to see a longer cycle, but not as big of a gain. So let's bring it down from that 11,000 to potentially maybe 7,700. So could still seem like a lot, but it's a dramatic drop from that 11,000. And again, that 11,000 drop was a drop from 60,000. So this would bring our Bitcoin to roughly around the 220,000 to 230,000 range at the end of the market cycle. The end of the market cycle would end somewhere in December of 2022. So this is more aligned with the lengthening market cycle, not in line with something like the stock to flow, which we've talked about before on the channel. Again, stock to flow, and a lot of people from stock to flow are saying that this market cycle is going to boom and peak out at September. And if that happens, I'll be ready to sell in my bags if it hits these critical prices, say $100,000 Bitcoin, $120,000 Bitcoin by September. I will absolutely at that point take some off the table if we are hitting those numbers at that time, just in case I am wrong. But looking at this, looking at the chart zoomed out, this makes a lot more sense to predict on what's going to happen next logically to the pattern. And again, I want people to remember that, it's hard to determine Bitcoin's cycle off, say, the halvening. Because how do we know that it's going to act the exact same way when there is no more Bitcoin to mine in 2100? And I don't think it's going to be dictated by the halvening at all. The halvening will have an impact on the price of Bitcoin without a doubt, but I don't think the market cycle itself is actually dictated in terms of when that happens by the halvening. I do predict at some point we will have a market cycle that suffers two halvenings, that has two halvenings through that market cycle. I do predict that at one point in my lifetime that's at least going to happen. Maybe not anytime soon, but in my lifetime, I think that something like that will eventually happen. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm way off? Do you guys think it's dead on the money? I'm not sure. Go ahead and give me a like. Subscribe to the channel for more crypto news and content. And go ahead and comment down below what you think of lengthening market cycles or potentially stock to flow. That's it for me. Happy hodling.